All right, let's talk about the tropics and potential tropical cyclone 6. Still not technically a depression. That's why it's got the word potential in it. Not quite there just yet, but it is trying to organize, and the National Hurricane Center does think it will become a tropical storm probably later on today. The reason it's not technically a cyclone, meaning it's not a depression, tropical storm, or hurricane yet, it has to do with the circulation. Right now, we do not have a closed circulation. The winds are coming up over and out, but they're not wrapping around on the southern side. You need the winds to wrap around on the southern side for it to become a depression or a storm. Once those winds do wrap around on that side, we will officially have either a tropical depression, or more than likely they would just bump it up to tropical storm Fred. So that's what we're waiting on today. But notice, it is trying to organize some. There are a lot of showers and thunderstorms in the vicinity of that circulation, and it will probably organize and become a named storm later on for your Tuesday. Here's the official track of it heading up towards Puerto Rico as we go into Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. There they have it as a tropical storm, but watch what happens. Move over the Dominican Republic here, and near the Dominican Republic will likely weaken some, and then back out near Cuba and the Florida Straits as we go into Friday. So notice by Friday, still not even to the Gulf of Mexico. They do think it will get to probably the Florida Straits, southeastern parts of the Gulf by maybe late Friday or early Saturday, and then notice starting to strengthen and re-strengthen as it gets back out over the Gulf as it starts to make that northerly turn. So the trend will be for it to move northwest with an eventual northerly component to it. The big question just remains, being 5 days out, when does that turn happen? Does it move up over the Florida Peninsula, or does it go further out into the Gulf of Mexico? Those are all pretty much scenarios that could play out right now. Most models do keep it east of us, which has been a trend we're going to have to watch. We really haven't seen any huge fluctuations in these trends, but with so much uncertainty between here and where it's at right now, things could certainly change. So for now, we're just watching it. Our concern level is not very high, but we got to keep an eye on it. It's riding around that ridge of high pressure. So there are a couple obstacles ahead of this system, and one big one are going to be the mountains of the Dominican Republic, depending on where it goes here. You can see the elevation gets pretty high in Haiti and in the Dominican Republic, and if it's a weak storm, that center, if it tracks right over those high mountains, it will likely tear the storm apart, really weaken it, which we do think is going to happen. Now, it's possible it rides here on the northern side of the cone and misses the highest mountains, and that would disrupt it less, but either way you look at it, it's got some mountains to go through, lots of dry air right now, and you can see lots of dry air ahead of it. That's likely what's keeping it from wrapping up right now, is that dry air on the southern side, but you can see it kind of getting wrapped up into it there, and that will continue to be a problem for it, it looks like, as it does head towards the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, and Haiti. Now, once it starts to get closer to the Gulf of Mexico by this weekend, it might have a little bit more moisture to work with, but there's still going to be some wind shear. Either way, it does look like it would probably try to re-intensify some as it gets into the southeastern Gulf by Saturday, and then beyond that, there's still, well, a lot of questions. Reason for that northerly turn and the timing of that northerly turn is all going to have to do with how quickly the edge of this ridge weakens, and it's going to weaken thanks to this dip in the jet stream. This will help weaken this side of it, and this storm will want to follow the weakness in the ridge, right? It's like a river winding through the mountains. It's going to go the easiest path, and whenever there's a weakness in between two ridges, it's going to try to go up in there. So if this ridge ends up being a little bit stronger, the storm will go further west. If it ends up being a little bit weaker, the storm will go further towards the east. Just one of those things. It's a long ways out. Models always struggle with the strength of ridges and when they weaken, so I wouldn't be surprised if models are flip-flopping around. Either way, it's not an immediate concern to the northern Gulf Coast, but we do need to watch it. It's hurricane season. We're heading into mid-August. You know how these things go. Overall, that's your forecast, though. I don't have any tropical threats in there right now, but if we did have any impact from this system, it would be early next week, probably around the Monday time frame, give or take a day, of course. But overall, just watching it. But in the meantime, plenty of heat, plenty of humidity, and some afternoon storms. April?